Today on Public Eye News, in Detroit, progress is being made in the effort to reach a deal ending the United Auto Workers strike. And later, a 2018 Indiana school shooter is being released back into the custody of their parents.
Later, Megan Tarcia will have your weather and Taekwon Cox will have your sports updates. Hello, I'm Austin Graham.
And I'm Marin Parks, and this is Public Eye News. Downstate in Detroit, Michigan, striking auto workers are allegedly making good headway in their negotiations with the three major car manufacturing companies of Detroit: Jeep makers Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. This alleged progress comes as the United Auto Workers Union has been on strike for going on 3 weeks and has cost manufacturers an estimated $200 million in lost productivity. The strike, which has been following the strategy of targeted striking, has so far only involved about 25,000 of the union's estimated 146,000 members, and has proposed an expansion of the strike in both of its previous 2 meetings. In negotiations to end the strike, the union is seeking, among other things, a 36% wage increase over the next 4 years, a 32-hour work week, and the restoration of pensions and the return of cost on living increases. And over in Madison, Wisconsin, the president of the Wisconsin Senate, Republican Chris Kapenga, called upon the assembly yesterday to vote to impeach the state's top elections official, Megan Wolf. However, in order for the assembly to vote for Wolf or any other state official's impeachment, the charge against them must be either for corrupt conduct in office or for committing a crime or misdemeanor. Should the assembly have both cause and the majority vote to impeach Wolf, her case would be turned over to the state Senate, where a 2/3 voting majority would be required for a conviction. The Wisconsin Senate, which is currently controlled by a 2/3 majority of Republicans, already voted to fire Wolf last month, but were unable to do so as the Democratic Attorney General for Wisconsin, alongside legislators' nonpartisan attorneys, claimed they lacked the authority to impeach her at that time.
Yesterday in Noblesville, Indiana, a judge released an 18-year-old man who opened fire at a middle school back in 2018. The man, whose name has not been released, will be sent home and placed on house arrest with no access to a computer or mobile device without supervision. The 18-year-old will also not be allowed to visit any public schools or university campuses without prior approval, and he will not be allowed to possess any guns or drugs. The man was taken into a juvenile detention center when he was 13 after he injured a teacher and a student with a firearm. He shot the teacher 3 times and the student 7 times before he was tackled by the teacher. No one was killed in this shooting. And in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a county has reached a $12.2 million settlement with a man who was charged with drunk driving and ended up losing both his hands after jail officials failed to give him proper treatment. Back in 2020, Terrence Dwayne Winborn was arrested in Scott County on suspicion of drunk driving after his blood alcohol content level was clocked at 0.13%. After he woke up the next day in the county jail, he started to vomit and was unable to stand up. Winborn was transported to a nursing home in November of 2020 and lost over 50 pounds. An infection led to doctors needing to amputate his hands in December of 2020. Jason Hivley, the lawyer who handled the case for the county, said the county and the MCIT are hopeful that this resolution of this matter will help provide Mr. Winborn with the medical care and quality of life assistance that he needs. And the ability to hear is something many take for granted until it begins to leave them. But for young Diana, she almost never had the ability at all. Thankfully, a cochlear implant has saved her ability to hear properly. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield has more.
The excitement of bringing baby Diana home was quickly muted for parents Crystal and Justin Strom. Diana had spiked a fever and wasn't eating. She was facing several challenges: seizures, bacterial meningitis, and hydrocephalus, which is a buildup of fluid in the brain. Over the next 6 weeks at Children's Minnesota Hospital, doctors heavily medicated Diana to control the seizures and inserted a shunt in her brain to relieve the fluid. They gave her antibiotics for bacterial meningitis, but the infection was stealing hearing in her right ear. The family had to decide within a week whether or not to go forward with a cochlear implant before the inner ear was permanently closed. At just 10 weeks old, Diana became the second youngest person ever to get the implant, The device turns sound vibrations into electrical signals that the brain can recognize. The whole family was there as the earpiece lit up and Diana could hear. That's something the family will never take for granted. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, CBS News, Savage, Minnesota.
And don't touch that dial, because after this break, we will be back with your weather and national news. Stay tuned.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. On this awesome episode of UTR, we're back in Muskegon for some historic homes. Am I seeing double? A marvelous Munchkin-sized market and a speakeasy you'll want to shout about. We'll even go to a place that offers an amazing array of outdoor sports. This isn't under the radar. You just gotta see.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Megan Tarcia here with your weather update. Looking ahead at the Academic Mall on campus, it's looking a little bit cloudier than it was earlier, but still a beautiful day as fall is heading our way. Looking at the conditions across the UP, starting over in Houghton, it is 55 and partly cloudy. Over in Ironwood, it is 64 and rain showers. Both Iron Mountain and Menominee are at 67 and partly cloudy. And looking over at the other side of the UP, Escanaba is 66 and cloudy. Manistique is nice and sunny at 69. Sault Ste. Marie over there is at 67 and partly cloudy. And here in Marquette, it is beautiful 64 and partly cloudy. Today's conditions, we are looking at winds out of the south-southwest at 6 miles per hour and our barometric pressure as 29.74 inches and falling. Looking at tonight's conditions, it will continue to be mostly cloudy with a low of 54 and our winds will be out of the west-southwest at 8 miles per hour. Looking at tomorrow's conditions, we have rain showers, unfortunately, with a high of 53 and a low of 41, with our winds at a gusty 21 miles per hour out of the southwest. And looking ahead at our weekend, starting with Saturday, it is a high of 48 and a low of 41 with rain showers continuing. Sunday is a high of 45 and low of 39 with the sun peeking out. And Monday, those rain showers continue with a high of 46 and a low of 41. Sending it back to the desk for our national news.
Thank you so much for that, Megan. And in our national news, yesterday prosecutors moved to formally dismiss firearms charge that they filed against President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. The charge being dropped alleged that Hunter Biden broke national gun laws against the possession of firearms by active drug users when he purchased a gun in 2018, a time during which he acknowledged struggling with addiction. The charge was previously part of a plea deal in which Hunter Biden was expected to avoid prosecution on the firearms charge while pleading guilty to misdemeanor tax counts. The plea deal, however, fell through in July, leading to a new 3-count indictment against the president's son, which consists of gun possession and false statement charges, although the original tax-related charges have yet to be brought up. The dropping of the original charge is a procedural step in making way for these new charges in the court of law. And down in Florida, prosecutors have brought up charges of witness tampering against rapper YNW Melly leading up to his retrial. In documents released late yesterday evening, prosecutors alleged that Melly was part of the Bloods street gang and while incarcerated had used letters and other prisoners' phone calls to communicate with gang members on the street, who then ensured a key witness didn't testify at his first murder trial. These charges come leading up to Melly's retrial, in which he faces a possible death sentence if convicted. Melly has been accused of 2 cases of first-degree murder in which prosecutors claim Melly killed 2 of his childhood friends, Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas and Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams, in 2018. And history is once again being made in Rome as the Vatican opens voting to the wider public on key and controversial topics such as female priests and the Church's response to its gay members. Philip Puella has more.
The future of the Catholic Church is being charted in Rome. Pope Francis opened the summit saying, "We are not here to make a political rally, but politics are already at play. For the first time in history, women and lay people will be allowed to vote, helping to decide big questions like, can women become deacons? other hot-button issues, whether divorced and remarried Catholics can receive communion, and if priests should be allowed to marry. American Cardinal Raymond Burke and 4 others launched a barrage of challenges before the meeting began, including clarification on same-sex couples. In a bombshell response, the Pope opened the door for priests to bless same-sex unions, but fell short of putting them on the same level as heterosexual weddings. Pope Francis told followers Wednesday the Catholic Church is in need of repair to make it a welcoming place for everyone. Any changes for the church are likely a long way off. There's another summit next October, with a papal document expected out in 2025. Ian Lee, CBS News.
After this break, Taekwon Cox will be back with your sports update. Stay tuned.
I'm Les Stroud. Come with me on a journey to learn new survival skills from the few remaining indigenous tribes around the world. With never-before-seen footage of tribal rituals and ceremonies that help us discover how these cultures have persevered for thousands of years living close to the earth. Once you have secured the survival of your body, you must ensure the survival of your mind and spirit. Join me and go beyond survival.
Tonight at 10:30.
Hello everyone, I'm Taekwon Cox and this is Public Eye Sports. Starting us off today, we have NMU Women's Volleyball. It's set and ready to take on the Parkside Rangers tomorrow at home in the Vanderman Arena at 6:30 p.m. They also play at home Saturday against the Purdue Northwest squad. On Saturday's game, the Wildcats will honor the 1993 and 1994 national championship team. Players to look out for this weekend will be setter Lauren Van Remortel, who is third in the conference with 253 assists. Another player to keep an eye on is Jackie Smith, who has the most attacks in conference play with 285. Good luck, Northern. Go get us some wins. And shooting it over to hockey, there's currently a debate on who is the best goaltender in the NHL. Players were surveyed on the question of which goalie would they want to win. The majority of players chose the Tampa Bay Lightning goalies Andrei Vasilevskiy. Although he is getting a lot of great recognition from around the NHL, experts say there will be one problem heading into the season, and that is him missing the first 2 months of the season due to back injuries. Vasilevskiy earned MVP on the playoffs in 2020 and 2021 season. And for review of football news, AT&T, the phone company, getting involved with the NCAA and Gallaudet University by helping produce helmets for players who have a hard time hearing or people who are even deaf. The helmet is very technological, sophisticated, with a coach being able to use a tablet to send plays to the quarterback's helmet. Inside the helmet, the play call will be shown to the quarterback, and he will be able to make the play call to his teammates in a huddle. It's an amazing achievement for both football and technology. And that will be it for sports. I'll send it back over to you at the news station.
Thank you very much for that sports update, Taekwon. What do you think about the helmet situation in football?
I think that's a really interesting innovation that they're going for, and I think it's a good step for accessibility in sports that we're looking at.
I do too. I have one more story for us here.
Yes.
You're familiar with Fat Bear Week, aren't you?
I am.
All right. Well, the second round of Fat Bear Week is about to begin. The Bear matchups that are happening today and that you can vote for are 151 Walker versus 128 Grazer and 164 Bucky Dent versus 284 Electra. Winners from yesterday's matches were 806 Junior and Bear number 901. 806 Junior beat Bear 428 yesterday, and Bear 901 beat Bear 402. So I'm not really familiar with Fat Bear Week. I've heard about it a lot. I know we do it a lot here on campus.
All right, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name's Marin Parks.
I'm Austin Graham.
And this has been Public Eye News. See you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.
Thanks for watching today's episode of Public Eye News. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube down below or follow us on Instagram at NMU Penn to never miss a story.